Can hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Rabbi Brander started this incredible initiative that we're doing a 20-minute snapshot every day, just trying to gather our attention and thoughts and learn more about what's happening on the ground. I happen to be in a bunch of different WhatsApp groups, some of them with a lot of Israeli Yoetzet and Madrichot Kalot, and I'm seeing all of these really intense questions that I realize I'm privy to see them given my line of work, but that the American community doesn't realize like just how much the wartime is going into the details of everyday lives, especially women and men keeping Taharat Mishpacha, family purity laws. So we're really happy to have you here today. Dr. Judith Fogel is an experienced educator and speaker. She's a certified Yoetzet Halakha, a woman trained in advising couples and families who are keeping Jewish family purity laws. She created the Madrichot Kala program for the Eden Center, which is teaching other teachers how to keep these laws and working with brides and grooms on that. She also teaches Talmud, Mishnah, Jewish law in Midrashat Harova, amongst many other institutions, and she holds a PhD in sexuality, is a certified sex counselor. You can see she's got a myriad of incredible accomplishments, and we're really, really happy to have you here. Well, I wouldn't say happy, we're honored to have you here. And you also currently live in the Gush Etzion with your family. So I first just wanted to ask you, like, how are you doing? How's your family doing?
First of all, thank you for having me here, and thank you for bridging the gap there and allowing, what's going on here to be in the lives and spaces and thoughts of everyone that's going on across the globe. Thank God my family is fine. We're here in Gush Etzion. We're in Elazar. I have children ranging from ages 18 to 5. So they are all over. My oldest is doing Shevut Leumi in Mitzvah Ramon, but the others are with me trying to deal with the school schedule. We've half days, trying to work and school all at the same time. Some of the kids are a little bit more shaken by the sirens and, what's going on, and some are, easier, more adaptive. So thank God we're getting through this. Our block, just to give like a little thing, like the people around me all have, I think every single person on my block has someone serving in the army. So it's something that we really feel around here. Either them or either their children or their husbands or someone of the immediate family.
Wow. So as a, and this could be actually be probably hits your life in a bunch of ways. I was going to say as a Yoetzet, as someone trained in the area of family purity and mikvah, but probably also just as a teacher, how has this affected your life professionally?
Okay, so professionally, we are still learning, teaching. Everything is going on throughout everything. Thank God. Torah is really important, learning of Torah. In terms of working with women and kalot and questions, that has just increased tremendously. The amount of questions that I'm getting from brides and women and just all over has been, I would say doubled, tripled. Every day I'm getting multiple questions, which shows you, first of all, I think the commitment that people have to the law during these times is amazing. Like the basis is our Torah. Torah is our basis, and therefore people are reaching out because they want to know what to do. And even though it's difficult, and these are such hard questions sometimes, it's really important to them. And to me, that's amazing. And it shows you how important it is to us. And I'll say one more thing. I think also it shows us the way that we educate, that we're educating right now. Certainly, I deal with a lot of women, so I know we should include also the men, but I'm speaking a lot of times to the women. But we educate women these days regarding the nuances of the law. And so women know when to ask the questions. That's my goal always when I'm a teacher, and as I teach my brides and my students, to know when to ask questions. And thank God we're reaping the benefits of that because people are asking. And so while in the past, someone might have said, no, I can't go to the mikvah, or no, I can't do this, I'll just follow, according to the law, people are now reaching out and asking. And that also shows a tremendous, I think a tremendous movement within the law of how much women are a part of it. So that's amazing to me. And that also shows such hope.
So what types of questions are you getting now that are different than the typical mikvah ritual bath related questions?
Okay. So I'll start off with one of the craziest questions that I got, because I love starting off with this. And we're talking about, people in different places asking questions. But I did get a question from a Chayelet who is on the base. She's married, right? So a soldier who's on the base, one of my students. And she asked me, she's like, she was just finished her period and now she needs to start counting the 7 clean days. And she's like, I don't have any cloths. Right? It's traditional to use the cloth to check, use the cloth. She's like, I'm in the middle of, and she couldn't even tell me because you're not allowed to share that information. I have no way of getting that. And we all hear of like all the supplies that people are sending down. I don't know. I hope it's okay to speak openly here, but the amount of tampons and pads and things that people are sending down to the base, but no one has sent down Vediga cloths. So she was asking about it. She doesn't even know if she's going to be able to go to mikvah because again, she's in the middle of
She would have to get off base.
We have to get off base. But I also have gotten questions from Chayalot on base who need to go to mikvah. And what do they do? How do they push it off? So that's amazing. That was to me like amazing. Like that's what you're thinking. You're here protecting Am Yisrael. And the first thing is like, okay, how do I keep these laws? Which is amazing to me.
That's wild. I heard there's also a lot of questions about wives of husbands who are in the Miluim, in the reserves. So what types of questions are you getting?
So those increased. Usually we get, I think that happens in any doctor's office where like you get the same question that just keeps on repeating. This week has been that question. Apparently after the weeks that people have been in the reserves, they called everyone up on Simchat Torah, and soon afterwards, people now are being given 24 hours for a break. Right? So they're coming home for 24 hours. And I've gotten so many questions regarding women who are still in Nida, right? They're still, within their 7 clean days. And they wanted to know, can they go to the mikveh early? Can they, start counting their days early? What to do if their husband isn't home? What to do in that way? And it's been really hard. I think the question, I'll go back to that first question. The question of they're coming home, they got 24 hours notice and they're still in Nida is so hard. It's a really hard question to answer. There's a lot of different opinions. I'm not going to go into the whole debate there. But again, these are some of the women where their husbands are on the front lines and now they haven't seen them in 2 weeks. They're coming home for 24 hours and they just got notice yesterday.
And if they're keeping all of the halachot, all of the harchakot, the stringencies, even a hug would be forbidden. So like just those 24 hours to come home is...
So I want to put that out there, meaning in the normal situations, in a regular situation, these people are committed to doing the law to the fullest, not touching during the times of Nida. And now they're asking for leniencies. And I know certainly Nishmat has put on their website that there is disagreement amongst some of the rabbinic authorities in terms of what to do in that situation. Whether they're allowed to give a hug through clothing if they're in Nida in the presence of other people, some way to go according to that, or no, you're not allowed to touch in terms of that. And people should ask their own local rabbinic authorities regarding what to do, or Yoetzet Halakha regarding what to do. But I'm just saying that's a major question that does come up. In addition to, part of it is like, okay, wait a second, how can I plan in advance to kind of shorten my Nida? And I don't know everyone's background of how much they know about shortening it, but we rarely, really play with these 7 clean days, but sometimes there's room to move around with the times of the period in terms of the 4 or the 5 day wait for Sephardim and Ashkenazim to play around and shorten that. But that you have to know in advance. So there's definitely a lot of discussion and a lot of trying to figure out, as well as emotional coaching, trying to see where the couple's at. What are they able to do? What are they able to handle in terms of that? And to give encouragement, right? We follow these laws throughout the generations. This is something that's important to us. And just like, as my friend said, we're sowing that seed of all the men that are going out into the front lines. I think it's also important. Couples are committed to the law and they want to do the law.
Wow. But so I'm also seeing that it's not even just like everyone going just to their individual Rav, but there's major poskim coming out. So even if it's about safety, I think I saw, and I could be wrong, the chief rabbi was talking about going to the mikvah. Usually people go to the mikvah at nighttime. It's very scary to go out by oneself and their siren goes off, or to leave their children, their husbands in Miluim. And so that it's not even going to individual Rav, but that there's like really major poskim coming out saying like this is wartime and there's certain things that we're just going to allow to do right now. Even obviously all of the halachot around that still apply.
So yes, 100%. In fact, the Eden Center, the place where I, train the Kala teachers, there was an initiative by one of my students actually, where she felt very nervous going to the mikvah without a safe room. So she wanted to know
Wow.
which places have safe rooms. Now they published that for down south, for the communities, down south, when they, in terms of that, to find out where they could go. However, they didn't publish it for places that weren't getting sirens all the time. So she made, I think just in Jerusalem alone, she made 75 phone calls. But now we've put together a list of
Wow.
like 400 mikvahs that have, I think it's over 400 mikvahs that have safe rooms, so that people who feel nervous don't have to feel nervous about going to the mikvah. Let's take away one less thing that they have to feel nervous about. Because some women along the way, they're like, okay, how can I go if there's a siren? In addition, going at nighttime, if your children are feeling anxiety, right? Leaving your children,
Right,
if you're
right,
feeling anxiety,
right.
is not so easy. So there was a psak that came out that said that women can go during the day. It's very technically actually a little bit difficult to get a mikvah to open during the day. It's a little bit complicated here. It's not like, okay, we have the shul rabbi and the key to the mikvah. Every mikvah, I'll say even one more thing, is that the balaniot are finding it hard. The mikvah attendants are finding it hard to get to the mikvahs. The bus
Oh,
schedules are not working
wow.
as is. They have to leave their children also. It's not so easy, and certainly they work at nighttime, and so during the day they might have other jobs, so they're not able to just run over to the mikvah, open it up for a woman who might have gotten a psak to go during the day.
Wow. That's wild. I also saw, and I don't know if you've come across this, I also saw even a question about which mikvahs have safe gun arsenals, because legally, if you do have um, a registration to carry, you have to be able to put it down somewhere safe. And that they actually were saying which mikvahs actually can we go to while we carry our guns.
Yeah, no, it's wild. It's wild. The
Really
questions
wild.
are amazing. Yeah.
Have you also seen where this affects weddings? People getting married or not getting
Yes.
married?
So that is, I know a lot of you have seen on social media the people that are getting married. I'm dealing with the people that are pushing off their weddings because that doesn't get posted on social media. But certainly, as you know, an English speaker, American, made Aliyah from Teaneck, New Jersey. I teach a lot of brides in English, and so first of all, their families can't come in. A lot of them, not that like some, some of the airlines are not flying, and some people are also afraid to come and visit now, so they won't be able to come for a wedding. So I've
Right.
had a few brides that just pushed off the wedding because they want more family there. That's one aspect. And then I've had brides who push off the wedding because the chatan is serving. And I think also one of my brides told me, she's like, we could get married. We really could. And then the next day he would go back to the army.
Oh,
And
wow.
like, do you want that? Do you want to get married? Amazing, you're getting married. But literally within Sheva Brachot, we have the Gemaras about taking the Chatan to a war that's required to fight in the middle of Sheva Brachot. And literally that's what he would be doing. And some of them emotionally are like, I can't handle this. We don't know how long
Right.
the war is. We're hoping swiftly and successfully. We don't know how long this is going to last. So everyone is making a different decision. And I think people have to think about what's right and appropriate for them. But helping women navigate that is really difficult. There's a lot of emotion going on there.
Right. Wow. The are there areas like new halacha areas that are coming up for you? Just like stuff you haven't really dealt with before, just because
Um,
of wartime.
I'm trying to think. I think what's amazing, I like, for better or for worse, I'm not sure. I'm looking over my list. I'm not sure that there is anything that's really, I'll tell one more thing. I'm not really sure whether there is new areas. We've gone through war before.
Yeah.
We are a Jewish nation who unfortunately has experienced tragedies and wars. I think it's just more public, the questions that people are getting, but these questions have been asked before. I think one of the things that was debated is, are you allowed to have sex during the time like this? And that was debated amongst some of the poskim, the rabbis, the women that are involved in this. During normally in Eight Sarah, a time of how do we translate that directly? Like a time of
National tragedy.
national tragedy. It's not the time to be intimate. And therefore, there are poskim that speak about that. And one rabbi wrote a whole tshuva where people shouldn't be intimate for an entire month based on what's happening. I think actually what's really interesting, my analysis of this also coming from the world of, sex counseling, is that what's really interesting is that that was written like immediately after the Simchat Torah, the day of. And I think every day we view this and feel it in a different way. And certainly within that first week, it was so hard to be here in Israel. It was so hard, literally going from Shiva to funeral it was so hard. And I think we all experienced it. And that was something also where women themselves, men themselves, they just weren't in the mindset of that. On the other hand, the more that we do work within mental health, we know how important touch is. And like sometimes, like even, we talked about someone who's in nida being able to hug their husband while they're in nida. Like touch is something so crucial. One of my students, when, I was at the Shiva, one of my students was like literally like having a full-on panic attack at one of the funerals. And like literally one of the ways that we help is by holding the person. And like literally like a tight hug, a hold. And I think that also husbands and wives are experiencing that. And I think that we need to turn to touch. And that's something that's so important for a couple to know also, like, this is a tragedy, but like Am Yisrael, we get through tragedies. This is like, we could do this, the signs that are everywhere. I'm just, just give you a little picture. I drive to work. I work in the old city and I drive down Derech Hebron. It is filled with Israeli flags, like more than you've ever seen.
Oh,
The city
wow.
put up I would say every 5 meters, they put up an Israeli flag. I don't even know how they have that many. And everywhere there are signs. And it's just like the feeling here is that we're going to do this. We've done before, we've dealt with tragedy before, but we're going to do this. And therefore, part of that hope is also the feeling of connection with a spouse, touch. And I feel like also, while there are poskim who say that that wouldn't be allowed, I think for some people it's just so necessary and so important.
Wow. Is there any like kind of last message you want to leave us with as American Jews who are trying our best to support our family in Israel?
I think, first of all, evenings like this, well, for you guys, it's in the middle of the day. It's just so important. It is so amazing. You have all taken from the middle of your day to come on, to listen, to be a part, to know what's going on, to be supportive. And I think part of that is like, we all have our jobs, so some of our jobs are here in the front lines or, living in Israel, in that way. And I think also some of our jobs are actually like the hasbara, being able to, be those people who are the support people with social media, with being able to present Israel in the proper light. This is not just a war that we fight with guns and soldiers. This is a war that is fought, across the board. And I think just knowing that this is Am Yisrael together is what unites all of us across the board and helps us, live here. That we're not alone just fighting this battle ourselves. This is all of us together. So I really appreciate all of you coming on and taking up your time for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Judith, for joining us. We really, really appreciated everything and especially just your candor. It was
Thank you.
heartwarming and heartbreaking to hear all of it.
Bezrat Hashem, we shall get through this also and, only learn from what we've been able to, uncover and discuss and all that. So thanks so much. Thanks for
Thank
everything.
you. Thank you so much. Rabbi Branda, are there any announcements tomorrow's?